All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 327. Yeah, 327 of the First and Frame Rate Show. We're moving right along throughout the 300s, and I want to thank you guys for all the support. You guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. And this morning is going to be a pretty, just a simple discussion about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And that's what I do over here. If this is your first time here, welcome. Over here, I talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. And if you're walking in the door, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're on YouTube or Rumble, if you want to share this podcast, let everybody at Eagle and Atlanta Falcons Nation know what we're doing over here. Also, if you want to subscribe to any of the avenues that I'm on, please do so. It helps the channel grow, and I think you get pretty decent content over here. I try my best to make the best content possible. Now, as you can see, if you're looking on the screen, I don't have all the advertisements of the podcast avenues that I'm on, that I'm normally on. I want to use this space for other things going forward, but I am on pretty much all the podcast avenues that you normally would look into. I'm going from Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. I am now in the process of moving some of the podcasts to Podbean, so maybe I'll be on Podbean sometime later on today or tomorrow. I'll give you guys a heads up on the next episode if everything is up and up. So we will keep you informed on that. So it's just gonna be more of a more avenues for you guys to listen to the podcast. So also down in the description, if you want to donate, you can hit any of those links, and that will help the podcast grow as well. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. This shouldn't be a long episode, but it should be a pretty interesting one. The direction of the Atlanta Falcons, or Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football, where do you see those going? Because I see there's a lot of telling signs that where both program and organizations are going. I am a little worried about the Atlanta Falcons a little bit, because it seems like the Falcons just picking up a bunch of Chicago Bears and former Chicago Bears and Tennessee Titans. We just signed another tight end from the Tennessee Titans, or used to play for the Tennessee Titans. And it's starting to be a little bit of a head scratcher there. Like, it was a running joke at one point. Now I'm starting to sit back and like, okay, is this the only team, that the Falcons are looking into as far as getting talent? Now, I know they did get Casey Hayward. They did get, I can't remember his name, the receiver from the Lions and the Bengals. But when you look at everything, pretty much everything else is either one of those two teams. I'm like, all right, well, what are we doing here, right? But nevertheless, we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's talk about the Georgia Southern Eagles first. What are the indications to tell you what direction they're going in? First and foremost, Coach Helton already told you what we're doing there. We're going to be more aggressive. We're going to be more offensively explosive. And they're already looking into throwing the ball down the field. And it looks like, if you've seen any of the scrimmages or the practices, it looks like that's what they're trying to do. A lot of touchdowns was thrown in the first scrimmage. And you got like 6 or 7 quarterbacks. Well, I ain't going to say 6 or 7 anymore, because you had a couple of them, they're no longer quarterbacks, Justin Tomlin. And then you turned around and had Quincy Bonner, which I'm going to keep an eye on Quincy Bonner, because Quincy Bonner changed from he changed from quarterback and he moved over to defensive back. I think that's very, very interesting to see what he's done. He looks like he's working very hard to be good at that position. I love seeing stuff like that when people are working hard to try to make something happen. So I'm going to be interested to see how that plays out. But you have probably 5 quarterbacks at Georgia Southern, right? And these guys, pretty much every one of them can play quarterback very well. I'm really happy to see what they're, how that's going. And they're throwing the ball all over the field. So it looks like with Georgia Southern, that's almost a no-brainer. But what I want to see is how the running back is going to be implemented, because we got some really good running backs. We got guys here that I didn't think that's going to be as good. I mean, out of nowhere, a guy named Tyler Johnson just started running the ball. And I mean, he's like, a redshirt junior or something like that. He's looking really good. And on top of all the other running backs we already have, I mean, we should have no problem running the ball as well. But are we going to abandon that? I don't think that's something that should be abandoned because, I mean, when you got guys like Gerald Green, J.D. King, Jalen White, was it Omar Casby, Terrence Gibbs, the 4-star recruit that just came in. I mean, you got phenomenal kids that are here ready to go. And, but the one thing about the running back position, yeah, you could be a freshman phenomena because we've seen it happen before. I mean, you saw guys like Maurice Claret, Herschel Walker, and, other guys down the road who did very good as freshmen. But you really want to take it slow as a running back when you come into the college, and in some cases maybe even the quarterback position. But because it's a whole different ballgame, it's not the same as high school, and but you just never know. Some guys just catch on. Sometimes the offensive line does do their job at a high level, and anybody can run the ball as well as as they potentially can. Especially with Georgia Southern, we always had this tradition at Georgia Southern that we're going to run the ball and we're going to be really good at it. And I think that that's still going to be the case. I don't think we're going to be running the ball as frequent, but we still have the athletes. We still have the skill players to do that at a high level. But now just with Coach Clay Helton, it just seems more like he wants to throw the ball down the field more. Now, when you've seen Coach Clay Helton, what he's done in the past at USC with the receivers that he had, you sit there and think a little bit and be like, all right, is this going to be possible? This is definitely going to be possible. You look at like a Juju Smith-Schuster and I think it was a couple of other guys that he had that come out of USC. I think Drake London actually it was one of his recruits. So when you look at those type of players that came from USC and coming down to a group of 5, can he bring those type of players here? One foot is already in the door with some of the receivers that transferred over. Also, some guys that we already have, not just transferred, but some guys that have committed. So this is the direction of Georgia Southern football is almost clear. It's almost clear to see like, all right, these guys are trying to build a aggressive team on all 3 phases. And when you look at stuff like that, and when you see things like that, it's no reason to be excited. I mean, I ain't say no reason to be excited. It's all the reason to be excited. There's no reason to be skeptical because they're telling you exactly what they're trying to do. You bring a staff like this in, guys who are willing to, spread the ball around, put a game plan together to spread the ball around, put players in position to be successful. You got those guys like that. I mean, you're pretty much looking at a situation where it's going to put points on the board. Now, when you look at defensively, you got a new defensive coordinator, Will Harris, former defensive back coordinator or defensive back coach for Washington. When you look at him and you see what he's capable to do at Washington, and you got guys here at Georgia Southern that are athletes that are ready to go. I mean, we always had really good defensive backs, so that's great. And then we turn right back around and we bring in a lot of guys that's up on the front 7. I think we recruited like 6 or 7 linebackers and a couple of guys on the defensive line. Christian Varner came from UNC to come back to play at Georgia Southern. And I'm not even talking about the recruits that are further down the road. I'm just talking about guys who came in this past 4, 5, 6 months that are going to be playing next year, this upcoming season. You're looking at another style of aggressiveness that these guys are going to have. Another style of aggressiveness that really, Scott Sloan pretty much had that type of aggressiveness. I can't take nothing away from the defense. The defense of Georgia Southern's always been fairly consistent over the past 6, 7 years. I can't take. I mean, the defense was never at fault of having problems. I think last year was the first year we actually saw, okay, these defensive backs are in trouble, and with some injuries, Najee Thompson had to move to defense. It was somewhat in trouble. I saw it in the Gardner-Webb game when I went to Gardner-Webb, and I was like, how in the world Gardner-Webb was able to throw the ball like this? It was kind of crazy. But the front 7 always have been pretty solid. It wasn't too many teams running on us like that. Even, when we played Arkansas, Arkansas was not able to run the ball. They did more damage throwing the ball on us because our defensive backs just was not there. So that's something that we're going to have to really work on. And with the new defensive coordinator, and you got the strength and conditioning and nutritionists, these guys are coming, these people are coming in with, a whole different mindset of getting these guys prepared and ready. putting 10, 15, in some cases 20 pounds of muscle on these kids and having these kids getting ready to play some football. So the direction of Georgia Southern football is undeniable at this point. So that's where, there's not much more to be said there. So we got that down. Let's transition over to the Atlanta Falcons. Now this one is going to be, I ain't gonna say it's all over the place, but it can go in all type of directions. But I want to try to lock down where the direction of this football team is going, because now we're looking at situations where so many players are coming in to be interviewed to be drafted. Now, what does that mean? Who knows what that means? Because we got people from quarterbacks to defensive ends to edge rushers to wide receivers being interviewed by the Atlanta Falcons. Last year, we kind of got an idea of the direction that Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot wanted to go. They wanted an explosive offense, and they wanted to have a bend but don't break defense. In some cases, they wanted it to be aggressive with Dean Pease, and we kind of saw that direction, but they did not know. They knew they didn't have the talent for that aggressive defense Dean Pease wanted. So therefore, it kind of turned into a bend but don't break. Now, when we drafted Kyle Pitts, it was still kind of under the assumption that Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley was still going to be on the team. So if you had Matt Ryan, Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, Kyle Pitts, and even in some cases with Hayden Hurst, we were going to have a very high-powered offense. I mean, you almost looking at you're probably looking at Matt Ryan's MVP season all over again. That clearly could have been the direction. 1 year later, everybody but Kyle Pitts is gone. Calvin Ridley suspended. Julio Jones is unemployed. He should get a job somewhere, though, honestly. I don't think he's that bad. I think he just doesn't put in the work like he used to be honest. It seems like he's always injured, but that's just me looking from behind the microphone. Matt Ryan is going to Indianapolis, and Hayden Hurst is now I think he's a Bengal now. Yeah, I think he's a Bengal. But nevertheless, all of those people are gone, and the only person still standing is Kyle Pitts. I mean, rightfully so. He was just a rookie last year, so it wasn't like he was going to go anywhere. But when you look at this team the way it is, we kind of got the notion of what they're trying to do, but we don't know the direction. You got a lot of safe, solid, average to slightly above average players that's going to be here that has been signed to a lot of 1 year deals, a lot of prove it deals, and I already discussed how important a prove it deal can be for the Falcons and for the player, because it's basically an audition. But the only way we really want to know, honestly, the direction of the direction of Atlanta Falcons is within the draft. I think the first 3 picks, and I think I saw this on the Atlanta Falcons Nation's Discord. I was looking at, I think somebody said the first pick. I can't remember who it was, but in some cases, but I'm going to say the first 3 picks are going to tell you the direction that the Falcons are going in at this point, because the direction that they tried to go last year is that's gutted. I mean, everybody's going except for Kyle Pitts, so you can't go in that direction no more. I mean, the talent isn't there, the mindset isn't there, and it's hard to replace that many players of that that status. How are you going to replace a Matt Ryan? How are you going to replace a Julio Jones? And to be quite honest, Kyle Pitts, looking at that now, that's actually not as bad of a comparison as far as the replacement goes. Not anymore. It's not like we getting Julio Jones from 2015, 2016. If you looking at that type of player, Kyle Pitts is not there yet, but you looking at the Julio Jones of 2019, 2020, 2021, the replacement is almost comparable. But outside of that, Calvin Ridley, Matt Ryan, Hayden Hurst, when Hayden Hurst was balling, it's hard to replace that right away. So the first 3 picks, I feel like you're going to know exactly what the Falcons are trying to do at this point, because it's pretty much a lot of people don't want to say this, it's pretty much like a rebuild now. And, even the Falcons organization don't want to use rebuild. And I don't know why. I guess because it has a negative connotation to it. It's kind of like a give up mode, or like you're giving up a season. And I understand you're rebuilding personnel wise, but every time you go out on that field, you're playing to win. We're not going to go out there and say, okay, we got 17 games, we're trying to win 6. I mean, if you have that mentality, I don't want you around at all. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I'm doing this podcast, like, okay, I'm doing 22 minutes of the podcast, but I'm going to try my best to make sense for 7 of the 22 minutes. I'm just going to mail it in and fight another day to make a better episode for you guys. No, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, some people do this on their job. I'm not going to lie, because some of their jobs is just like, F this job, and I get it. I've been there, and you're like, okay, I'm going to work. I got to work 8 hours. All right, 2 of these hours, I'm going to look like I'm doing something. The rest, I'm going to coast it. I get it, but I don't think the Falcons are doing that. I don't think Georgia Southern's doing that. Obviously, I don't think they're not coasting nothing. They're trying to win. They're trying to win the Sun Bowl. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to circle back before I'm going to come back to the Falcons real quick, but I'm going to tell you why the Georgia Southern football needs to start winning some football games. Do you see what the other athletics programs are doing? Do you see? I mean, the golf team just won the Sun Belt. The baseball team is looking pretty good. The girls cheerleaders just won a national title again. I think the rifle team has done pretty good. I mean, the basketball team. The women's basketball team looking pretty good. So there's no reason for the football team, which is Georgia Southern is known more for their football team than anything. There's no reason for the football team to be falling off. There should not be another 3-9 season. So there's a lot of pressure, not only just with Coach Helton, but the football team in general. And besides, you got to deal with these USC trolls. But I don't even want to talk about them. Them clowns. They're about as bad as the Texas State baseball Twitter account. So there's a lot of pressure over there. Now, before I'm about to close this episode out, but before I finish, let's look at these Falcons once again. They are in a pretty good direction to do something really nice if they draft the right way. And the way they draft is going to let you know what they're going to do. Hey, my baby. What you doing with a messed up shirt on early this morning? Yeah, I see your shorts.
My shorts?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. This is my son. This is, if you're listening on the audio side of things, he likes to come in here every now and then, especially when I'm on the videos. And he likes to look. You want to tell everybody hello?
It's 2 Kenneths.
Yeah, it's 2 Kenneths. That's you, 2 of them, because it's 2 cameras. But
2 daddies.
Yeah, 2 daddies. Yep.
What is that?
Yeah, you see. Yeah, what's that? What's that on the screen?
Eagle.
Yeah, it's an eagle. Yeah.
Eagle.
Yeah, the eagle. All right, so let me go ahead and finish this up because I'm almost done. But I will say this: we already know what the direction of the Falcons and the Georgia Southern Eagles, but we're still trying to figure out the direction of the Atlanta Falcons, and I think we're going to be able to figure that out very, very soon. Especially with the draft coming up, it should be here in a few weeks or so. So we're going to figure all of that out.
Daddy,
Yes, baby.
wanna watch TV?
Yeah, we're going to watch TV. Let me finish right now. So I'm going to get up out of here. I mean, I don't have much else to say. If you like this content, hit the like button. Share this content. Just subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to any other podcast. I'm still on the. Hold on, baby. I'm still on the episode. Yes, baby. Yeah, I see. My son is a mess. I'm still in the process of trying to get all the podcast avenues together, but I got them all, the ones that you already know: Apple, Stitcher, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts. It's still in the process of going to Podbeam. I will have something up on my Twitter if you guys would check that out. And if you go to my Twitter's at VFBaller, I'll give you guys a heads up once it's up on Podbeam. So that's just another avenue that you guys can listen to the podcast for. So I'm going to get up out of here. I'm usually done around this time, so I'm going to get up out of here, and you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And I'm going to attend to my son because he wants me to do something for him. I already know, I can tell. He wants me to cut the television on for him. All right, y'all. I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all be blessed. and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Peace.